Looks like his plans to take over the world will have to be postponed as leader Klaus Schwab of the Economic Forum will be retiring. That was the news from a couple of days ago. And then, of course, the real news comes out. That's right. World Economic Forum has opened up a new probe into allegations of fraud. You guessed it, corruption from the top of the World Economic Forum. Ladies and gents, welcome back. The World Economic Forum has been in the news for over the past year or so, and I'm glad it's a case. I remember actually publishing a video called it's no longer taboo to talk about this. For the longest time, it was conspiracy theory to even talk about the World Economic Forum existing in the first place. It's been around since the 1970s, and it was founded by Klaus Schwab, an economist from, well, you guessed it, from that part of the world, the clinkety-clank part of the world, where they make funny mustaches, actually from that era, indeed. And, well, his whole plans were to take over the world using the Economic Forum. I mean, we could get into the conspiracy theories and all of that stuff, but let's just get into where their MO was. Their MO was to influence governments to penetrate the cabinets, as we've seen over and over again. That video, check out yesterday's video where I was talking about it. It's so funny that this news actually came out just recently, but this is what their plan was: to infiltrate the cabinets of governments around the world to do their undue influence. And we see characters like Chrystia Freeland, we see characters like Justin Trudeau, also Mark Carney, the guy who's in the Prime Minister chair right now and running for an extension on that chair as he was selected into that role. He wants to be elected into that role. But let's get into this story here. Reuters even writing about this. World Economic Forum launches probe into founder Klaus Schwab over whistleblower allegations. It looks like they're falling apart internally, and it's who would have thought the people who are into central authorities would turn out to be corrupt to the core? Well, this is where we're at. Of course, the Wall Street Journal also writing about this. World Economic Forum opens a new probe into founder Klaus Schwab. Founder quit after you can't fire me, I quit. Founder quit after board moved to investigate whistleblower allegations, which he denies, including use of luxury property and travel. Of course. Why would you ever assume that this stuff could ever be corrupted? Let's just bring everything into a central authority. Like the history books don't teach us this stuff. World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab is under investigation by the organization he created after new whistleblower letter alleged financial and ethical misconduct by the longtime leader and his wife. Surprise, surprise. They got lots of perks for being at the top of the World Economic Forum, which at the end of the day is really a lobby group where they roped in a bunch of celebrities and billionaires to come and give them money so that they can influence governments. And they're living large on the hog on this one. The anonymous letter was sent last week to the forum's board and raised concerns about the forum's governance and workplace culture, including allegations the Schwab family mixed their personal affairs with the forum's resources without proper oversight, according to the letter and the people familiar with the matter. Isn't this funny that this is where people are upset with the undue influence of the World Economic Forum in their governments? Because largely we're seeing the same kind of corruption everywhere where the World Economic Forum happens to have their tentacles in. It included allegations that Klaus Schwab asked junior employees to withdraw thousands of dollars from ATMs on his behalf to use forum funds to pay for private in-room massages at hotels. Also alleged that his wife Hilda, a former forum employee, scheduled token forum funded meetings in order to justify their luxury holiday travel at the organization's expense. Klaus Schwab in recent days argued against an investigation. Please do not investigate me. How about I investigate myself? Isn't that the MO? Isn't that how they normally run things? I'll investigate myself, and when I find nothing wrong, then we can move on. Telling board members that he denied the unsubstantiated allegations and that he would challenge them in a lawsuit, the people said. The Board of Trustees decided to open a probe during an emergency meeting on Easter Sunday. Schwab opted to resign immediately. You can't fire me, I quit. As the chairman, instead of staying on for the extended transition period as previously planned. The Schwabs said that through a spokesperson that they deny every allegation in the whistleblower complaint to protect their reputation. What is their reputation? I mean, the guy is a supervillain. I mean, what do you say to that? That's his reputation. But that's where we're at. And then later in the article, it says one allegation raised in the letter is that the Schwab family use of the Villa Mundi, a luxury property purchased before the pandemic by the Forum next to the organization's headquarters in Geneva. Basically a giant mansion for them to live in, appropriating costs, just like we see with every one of the governments that they have their tentacles in, like I said, just buying stuff for themselves, expropriating funds, embezzlement, this, you name it. This is what goes on when the more you consolidate power to the highest echelons, and you just, central authority always leads to this. Villa Mundi is a sprawling modernist house, not postmodernist, it's a modernist house, built in the 1950s, overlooking Lake Geneva. It was renovated several years and reopened as a meeting conference center in 2023. The whistleblower letter maintains that Hilda Schwab maintains tight control over the use of the building. She doesn't even work for the Forum anymore, but she's the lady of the house. And that portions of the property are understood to be reserved for private family access. The Schwabs denied the claim. The letter says the Forum paid about $30 million to purchase the property and another roughly $20 million to renovate it. Hilda Schwab helped oversee renovations to the property, so obviously she didn't want to let it go. She just could not let it go. But this is where we're at. Now, who was part of the board at the time when all of this was going down? Well, yeah, that's it. We all know who that is. Julian Assange. I think this is the real Julian Assange on X, saying allegations that the Schwab family mixed their personal affairs with the Forum's resources without proper oversight. Who had financial oversight, you might ask? Well, the answer is the same person who had financial oversight of Canada's public purse when it was looted and destroyed. Chrystia Freeland was the Canadian taxpayers footing the bill for Schwab's extravagant lifestyle. That's right. The Canadian taxpayer actually gave money to the World Economic Forum. This was another report that I put on the channel here because it's just ridiculous. You're talking about a special club for billionaires. Why are they getting Canadian tax dollars, especially when Canadians are, going to the food bank, this kind of thing? Now, Chrystia Freeland was a Board of Trustees member while she was the deputy prime minister and while she was the minister of finance in Canada, but she wanted to clear the record. Well, of course. And this is an article from True North back in January this year saying Freeland quietly scrubs World Economic Forum ties from the internet and deletes her Instagram. This was in an attempt to scrub the record so that she could get back into government. She resigned from Trudeau's cabinet, but she'll be part of Carney's cabinet, along with all the other colleagues that were also part of Trudeau's cabinet. This is what we're looking forward to here, folks. Get out and vote. I mean, if you don't want this to happen, get out and vote. This is a real thing. It's crazy, but this is exactly what's been going on. This is what's been happening in Canada. Why? Because most people have fallen asleep. And now that people are starting to wake up, well, this is the message that they're sending out to everybody. This is the Liberal Party. This is what you're going to get. This is more and more of the same old thing. But I'd love to just hear what you guys have to say about this. Who would have thought that when you get a bunch of billionaires that want to take over the world and make a central authority, that the ones at the top would become corrupt? Who would ever thought that would happen? Please let me know in the comments down below what you think about all of this. And of course, we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.